I rise today in support of bipartisan legislation, the Foreign Adversary Communications Transparency, or FACT Act. I want to thank again our E&C chairwoman, Kathy McMorris Rogers, Chairman Latta, Ranking Member Pallone, and the entire committee for their support. Additionally, I also want to take the time to thank the previous chair of the Select Committee on the CCP, Mike Gallagher, the current chair, Chairman John Molinar, and the Ranking Member, Raja Krishnamurthy, for their work this Congress in advancing public awareness of the dire threat that Communist China poses to America's prosperity and passing critical legislation to counter that critical threat. Communist China is using every tool at its disposal to conduct a coordinated campaign to surveil and collect information on Americans. One of the ways that the CCP is doing this is through infiltrating our telecommunications and technology markets. Despite this clear and present threat posed by Communist Chinese-controlled telecommunications company, many still maintain authorities to operate in the United States. Even worse, while some CCP-controlled companies like Huawei and ZTE have been publicly identified, there are other communist Chinese telecom and tech companies that have not yet drawn public scrutiny. My bipartisan FACT Act will provide much-needed transparency into the level of Communist China's infiltration into our technology sector. The FACT Act will require the Federal Communications Commission to publish a list of companies who both hold FCC authorizations and have any ownership by foreign adversarial governments, including China, Russia, Iran, and others. This public disclosure will help to shine a light on the malign access and influence Communist Chinese companies have inside our tech and telecom markets. We cannot allow companies controlled by the CCP or other foreign adversaries to have unfettered and unknown access to our telecommunications infrastructure. This legislation will give Americans much needed transparency and will pave the way for future action to counter these adversarial-owned listed companies. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting this bipartisan bill to counter the influence of Communist China and other foreign adversaries on America's telecommunications infrastructure, and I yield back.